Hey folks, my name is Jen. So, the current office slash filming space is still in just an absolute disaster zone. And it's also really hot in there. So, we're in here again with the background we've had for a while. I was actually going to attempt to film outside, but I don't know if you can see, take in any of that. It's going to rain, so instead we are indoors. Anyway, I'm coming at you today with the Summer Vibes video. Feels really weird to be doing this already, but also really weird because it is currently the 2nd of August, and I can't believe that the summer has already mostly passed us by. On the other hand, I'm also very glad that the summer has mostly passed us by, because I don't know about you, I'm really tired of it being this fucking hot. Like, I'm over it. I want fall, I want it to be cold, and I want pumpkin coffee in my hand. How this works, if you're new here, talk about what my vibes have been for the particular season we are in, and I use the 5 senses basically to talk about these things. So first up, as per tradition, I think at this point, I think I usually start with like hearing. So we'll go with what have I been listening to this summer. So music wise, it's been weird. June I listened to a lot of music. July I really did not listen to that much. I listened to stuff here and there, but for the most part my life has been taken over with podcasts. Yeah, anyway, as far as music stuff that I've been listening to, is pretty much, I think, mostly the same as usual. I have my usual little friends that I listen to, basically Yellowcard and the Beatles. They're my 2 favorite bands, so I listen to them a lot. In the summertime, and also in the spring, I get really into a like Stevie Nicks kind of vibe, so I tend to listen to more Stevie Nicks or Fleetwood Mac. So there's also been quite a bit of her as well. I continue with my listening of I the Mighty. It hasn't been as much just listening straight through to their entire discography like it was over the past few months. It's kind of switched to me listening to my favorite songs of theirs, or if not those specific like songs, I've been sticking with their last album, which was Where the Mind Goes, Where You Let It Go. That is the album that I mostly have devoted time listening to when I'm listening to them. Otherwise, it's still been Sleeping with Sirens, mostly the album Let's Cheer to This, but also a mix of that as well. Aurora, who is an artist that I really enjoy her music. I think she has the voice of a damn angel. I really love her sound and everything. She came out with a new album called What Happened to the Heart, so I've also been listening to that. I think my favorite song off of that one is probably Dreams, but I'm sure that will ultimately change as I listen to the album more. And because it's like summer, and because this has been like my summer music since 2022, it has pretty much been time to like pound through Coheed and Cambria again. In 2022, which I think is when I started doing these 5 videos, I was really like talking about their album Vaxis 2, and that was just, for some reason, I became obsessed with it, and I just kept listening and listening and listening and listening, like on repeat, that album over and over again. And I haven't really done that with albums ever, I don't think, that I can remember, actually, ever in my life. I've had like certain CDs, which were mostly compilations, that I would listen to quite frequently, or whenever I could, but I don't think there was ever like one specific album that was just my shit, and I listened to it every single day. I've never really done that. I tend to switch between like different things based on my mood, and that album, just something about it just captured my attention, and I listened to it and listened to it and listened to it. And now it's been kind of like my summer vibe since 2022 to re-listen to that album a whole bunch. So I did that, but then I also ended up doing a complete and utter like discography deep dive with Coheed as well, which I think I've done that before, but it's been a while. So that was also pretty great. And at the same time of listening to all of their music, I also discovered that Claudio Sanchez, who is the lead in the band, also has a side project that he does as well, and it's called The Prize Fighter Inferno. And I have also been listening to that music as well and really liking it. It's definitely, you can tell the similarities with it, but there's also very clear differences as well, and I'm really enjoying that too. My favorite song so far out of that like side project is Elm Street Loverboy. I am kind of obsessed with it, like everything about it, the sound of it, the lyrics. It is reference to like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and which is interesting because of something else I've been interested in this summer as well. It just kind of tied in perfectly with like my interest this summer. So as per usual, I'll leave like links to stuff down below, so I don't know if I'll leave like full links to things or if I'll just like leave links to like my favorite songs off of what I'm talking about. Yeah. And something else I've been listening to is I recently started listening to James Taylor. Where I work in distribution. Our shipping guy usually has like, he has an Alexa over in his area and he plays like music, and it depends on the day, but oftentimes it is a mix of like 70s, 80s, 90s, rock and oldies, stuff like that. Sometimes he'll get into the 60s too. He'll pick like an oldies station, or he knows I like the Beatles and he also likes the Beatles, so sometimes he'll pick like a Beatles specific station, play more of that or whatever. So he does that like stuff. And this song came up, and it was a song that I was like, I really like that song. I was like, and I like it all the time, and I never think about what that actually is. So I ended up, like on my break, went and looked it up and found out, oh, it's James Taylor. And so I was looking through his discography on Spotify, and it's like most popular songs and stuff like that. And I was like looking, I was like, oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that song. Wait, I know that song. And I kind of just realized that this guy's voice has been like the soothing voice of my childhood, if that makes any sense. I mean, he's definitely been making music for a lot longer than I've been like even a thought in my parents' brains. But like, I mean, just the radio that I would listen to in the car growing up, like Delilah, which my mom would put on all the time, or like just family members playing stuff and things like that, driving around with them, I kind of realized, holy shit, so this guy has been like the soothing voice, like that's the voice I remember distinctly from like road trips or like driving into town or just different things like that, and I was like, holy shit. I was a fan of this guy and I didn't even know his music. I won't say I'm like a major fan of everything because I've been doing a deep dive slowly, because I've also been taken over with a lot of podcasts lately, but like I've been slowly doing a deep dive into his discography. And while I don't think I like some of his older stuff, I do enjoy some of it, and moving into the like slightly newer, still older but slightly newer stuff. Yeah. My favorite song is Your Smiling Face. It gets stuck in my head a lot. And yeah, I just really love that song. I'm just discovering about myself that holy shit, I really like this artist. As far as podcasts go, it's pretty much been the usual suspects with my podcasts. My usual things that I listen to, although I do have to say I haven't been listening to as much true crime as usual. Just my anxiety has ramped up a lot more over the past couple of months, so I haven't been listening to as much of that. And there was also one podcast that was true crime that I was listening to, and a couple of episodes really upset me, and I just kind of haven't been listening to it as much. I still have been listening to a little bit of like the paranormal stuff, or like slightly spooky stuff, like the Let's Not Meet. I've been listening to that still, and like real life ghost stories, because that's my favorite podcast. But yeah, I've kind of slowed down on a lot of my other stuff. And then I also kind of became obsessed with a podcast that I found I think I found it in June. And it is called Pod Mortem. And it is a podcast that is hosted by siblings Travis and Renee, and Renee's husband John Paul. And basically Podmortem is, they've all been fans of horror movies for like basically their entire lives. Especially Travis and Renee probably watched some of them maybe before they really should have been watching them, perhaps. But yeah, they basically, they watch and review horror movies to comedic effect. It's really great, and it interested me first because it sounded really cool, and it's also really funny, and I really love the banter, and the relationship between these three is great. But it's also really great because I can listen to episodes that are about horror movies that I've seen or that I really love, and can kind of relive that experience and laugh along with stuff that is like, yeah, that is pretty dumb, or that's, yeah, and learn more facts, because they also do deep dives and tell you more facts about the making of the movies, which is really cool, because I oftentimes don't know a lot of the backstories. I know the backstories to like The Shining, but I don't know backstories to a lot of other horror movies. So it's been like pretty great to learn more things about like how the production was made and stuff like that. But then the other bonus about it is I've been learning more and about horror movies that I am too much of a chicken shit to watch. So stuff like Hereditary, I was too scared to watch that movie because the things that I'd heard about it, and also the trailer freaked me out. So I could listen to the episode about it, and then I didn't have to worry about watching it because I already learned everything that I was curious about through their review. And then it's also been fun on top of that because then I learn about other classic horror movies that I haven't seen before, and I can like gauge for myself based on what they're talking about whether or not I feel like maybe I am brave enough to actually watch these movies. Like a lot of the old like black and white ones like Dracula, and Frankenstein and the Mummy and all this kind of stuff, like, not like Brendan Fraser's Mummy, but like the old one from the 30s. I've never watched any of those. I feel like I've mentioned this before, but like, my parents are not horror people. They don't like reading horror, they don't like watching horror. They're not really into any of that. My mom is a big scaredy cat, and my dad just, I think for the most part, isn't really that interested in it. I think his problem most of the time is like the gory stuff. I think he's a little bit squeamish, kind of like I am sometimes, which is a large part of why I won't watch a lot of horror, is that I'm squeamish about certain things. Yeah, so I wasn't really raised on a lot of that because they don't like that stuff. And my grandparents, I don't think they were really into that either for the most part. My aunt likes it. I know, because when I was younger, she knew I was too young to watch The Crow, so instead she summarized the whole movie for me because I was interested in it, and she was in love with Brandon Lee, so like, she told me all about The Crow, which I both loved and was scared of, even though I've never watched it, but I got to hear all about it when I was a little kid. Ghost, I was allowed to watch Ghost when I was honestly much too young for it, and I think I'm still traumatized by the opening scenes of that movie. Not the clay part, the part where the guy gets killed in an alley. Also, there's another part near the end of that movie that's also really horrifying. Yeah, why was I allowed to watch that? I was like 5, guys. I haven't seen a lot of stuff. I think the only horror movie that I know I was exposed to continuously as a child is Topper Returns, which is mostly a comedy movie. Like, there's a couple of elements to it that I guess would be kind of spooky to like a little kid or maybe audiences back in the day, but it's not really a scary movie. I highly doubt these guys are ever going to talk about it on the podcast, but that was my introduction as a child because, like I said, my family doesn't do horror, and based on my reactions to movies like Ghost or episodes of The Outer Limits that I wasn't supposed to be watching but definitely watched, my parents were very much like, yeah, you're not gonna have anything to do with horror because you have nightmares and then you drive us crazy all night. So I didn't watch a lot of these things that they're talking about, but hearing about them, and I'm like, okay, I can watch this. And I've always been petrified of Frankenstein. Like, when I was little, I was convinced that Dracula lived in my bedroom closet and would come out at night and try to kill me. And that's just from seeing, you know, a Dracula on the jacket of a movie at the local rental place. Any of those, but I've reached the point where I'm like, that would be fun to watch that. So it's been great listening to some of these because I get ideas for things that I want to watch, which I will talk about also what I have been watching. Basically, next sight watching, it's been a little bit of horror movies. So I have tried out some. The Conjuring is my usual go-to horror movie. My thing about horror movies is I will usually watch a bunch, get the piss scared out of me, but among those I will find like a couple that are initially a little scary, but not like incredibly scary, and then I will continue to watch them, and those will be my comfort horror movies because I know all the jump scares and I like watching them because I find more things the more that I watch them. So The Conjuring's one of them. The Haunting is the other one. The Haunting's really bad. It's objectively really bad, but it was the first horror movie that I ever watched as a teenager, so I have a special place in my heart for it, even though I know it's really bad. I've been rewatching some of my favorite horror movies. I did a rewatch of Topper Returns last October. I might rewatch it again soon. But I also decided to branch out a little bit and watch horror movies that they've been talking about on the podcast. So I decided to watch Halloween, the original 78, right? The original one with Jamie Lee Curtis in it. I liked it. I understand where people are like, oh, this is not scary, because there's a couple of parts of it that I actually actively like laughed a lot at, because they were just utterly over the top and stupid, and I really loved it. But there were also still a couple of parts of that movie that really got to me. But were still fun to watch, because I was like, man, if I'm picking up cues on things, like if I wanted to dress up as something spooky instead of my usual, that would be fun to incorporate some of the things that, like, Michael Myers did in the movie to, like, just freak people out. And I'm not talking, like, you know, stabbing people, obviously, that would be terrible. But I mean, like, just certain little body language things that he did that are really fucking eerie. I loved that. Yeah, I really liked that one. I will probably continue watching the old Halloween movies, even though I'm not that big a fan of slashers, but they were so over the top and ridiculous that they're not, like, super disgusting like modern day ones are. I can tell you I will not be watching the Rob Zombie one, because I've seen a Rob Zombie thing before and it grossed me the fuck out, so I will be skipping that probably. So watched the OG Scream, because I thought I could handle it. I could not. So I will not be continuing with those ones, because that movie was just a little bit too much for me. I would rather watch Scary Movie than actual Scream, as much as I do indeed love Matthew Lillard and everything that man does. I don't think I can rewatch that movie. Also, speaking of that movie, I don't understand how anyone could, like, see what's his face, Billy or whatever he is, the boyfriend, and not immediately think that he's a serial killer. Like, he's got the Kubrick, like, this boy's creepy. Like, I don't get it. Whatever. That was just the 90s, I guess. Then I also watched Ouija, which, I liked it. Like, I did like the movie. I found it to be entertaining. There were a couple of parts of that movie that scared the shit out of me, though, that I was like, I'm gonna be thinking about this tonight. I don't like that. Although there was also an emotional part near the end of the movie that I actually surprised myself. I cried at a horror movie. So that was something. I won't say it's like the best movie ever, but I mean, it scared the crap out of me. But again, you can take that with a grain of salt, because I'm a little bit of a coward. Let's see, what other spooky things have I been watching? So I watched Jaws, like, at least the first 3 Jaws movies years ago with my cousin. We watched it on a road trip on, like, the portable little DVD player. We watched those, and then we're too scared to go into the ocean when we got to the beach. So I've seen those movies before, but after listening to Podmortem, I was like, you know what, I really want to do a rewatch of that movie, at least the first one, because I do tend to like creature features. Like, haunted houses and creature features are the shit that I enjoy And my husband has never seen Jaws because he doesn't like horror movies, but he agreed to watch Jaws with me. So I found it online and we were going to watch it recently, but that didn't work out. I think we are going to watch it this weekend. And then Alien, also, that's the other thing. I found the Alien movies online. I have never seen any of them. But I am planning to binge the shit out of them. A couple of my friends are like, at least one of them is like a major fan of like the Alien movies, and we have been kind of talking about going to see the new one when it comes out. I think it comes out later this month. So we've been talking about getting grouped together maybe to go do that. And what else have I been watching? NCIS and Netflix has now, well, they've gotten rid of all of the early seasons, and now they have like season, what is it, 13 or 14 through, I think, current or whatever. And I'd watched up until a certain point, whatever they had last time, and I was waiting for them to eventually update it, and now they have. So I have gone back to watching NCIS, and I'm currently in a season that I've watched before, but I forgot completely, like most things that happened in it. So I'm waiting to get up. I'm rewatching some stuff. I think I have like 2 seasons to rewatch, and then I'll be caught up to where it was cut off before. Yeah. For anime wise, I started doing a rewatch of Ouran High School Host Club because it's been years and years since I've actually rewatched my favorite anime. But I didn't get further than just the first episode, which I love the first episode. I think it's an amazing opening episode of a show. But yeah, I started doing that, but then I haven't continued because I've gotten distracted by everything else. So, but I did watch Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night with my husband, and I really loved that. It's really heartfelt, it's beautifully done, and it's so cool. Like the music in it, the art style in it, the story itself, the relationship with these 4 girls. It's like 4 girls who are connected through, like, a couple of them are connected through their past and stuff like that, and they're all like trying to achieve this like dream together, and it's so beautiful. I don't remember what the Japanese name is, but the English name is Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. So it's beautiful. And then it's just been the usual suspects in YouTube land, although I am very behind in catching up on videos. I keep like sitting down and watching like 2 videos, and then I get distracted and I go out and do something else, and it's just been, I'm so far behind. I promise I will be catching up eventually. Other senses, I probably talked for 5 million years. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Smell. Sense. The sense of the season, the summertime. Let's see. I've got lemons. Lemons have been the thing. Been eating a lot of lemony treats. We've been like having lemonade. Speaking of lemons, I'm so sorry. I have allergies, and they are going bad the last couple of days. They're driving me crazy. My nose, my eyes are so itchy. Since perfumes, I have my perfumes. So last year I started, instead of like just using my usual perfume or going by mood, I decided to start picking out seasonal perfumes. So I have my summer perfumes here. So I've got Pink Lemonade Fizz. I've got Mango Tango Twist. These were like really cute ones from several years ago that, see, they've got like the different colored straws to make them look more summery. I think it was for like summer stuff. And then I've got, this was my go-to scent in 2013 and also 2014, I think. I was obsessed with this thing. It is Bali Mango. Or Bali? Bali Mango. Yeah. This was Escape Collection 2013. I have not seen this the last time that I went to Bath & Body Works, which was admittedly a while ago. I haven't seen any of these, so I don't think these are available anymore. Otherwise, let's see. Incense. I haven't been doing too much incense, but we've been doing a little bit, and I always love Dragon's Blood. That's my favorite incense, so it's been a bit of that, and then I've also been doing patchouli, because, I don't know, I also really love that scent. Also Bath & Body Works. Can you tell what I like to go to and smell things at? It's a stress relief body wash that's eucalyptus and spearmint, and I'm kind of low-key obsessed with it. Like, it is very stress relieving. Like, it's very calming, and I love those two scents together, so well, speaking of eating, I guess I can talk about that. Taste. Eating and drinking. What has been the shit this month? Well, I mentioned lemons. Homemade lemonade. My husband's made it a lot. I've made it a couple of times. We've been when we go grocery shopping, we've been getting like, I don't know, a handful of lemons, and then we just end up making homemade lemonade. Also been having Truly seltzer. You saw that in one of my other videos. Been drinking a bunch of that. Seagram's, the wine cooler, like escapes or whatever. I love Jamaican Me Happy is my favorite. I love those. Margaritas. There's this place by my best friend that makes, well, it's a Mexican restaurant, and the food there is so fucking good. And they also make real damn good margaritas. Like, you can tell there's tequila in it, but damn, you don't care after like 3 sips. I like I can't remember the first couple ones that I had, but the most recent one that I've had was the pomegranate one, and I think that might be the best flavor out of what I've tried from them so far. It is so good. Let's see, otherwise, food and snack wise, Italian ice. Been eating a lot of Italian ice over here because it's so hot. Like, I get home from work, and sometimes just in this space of being in the hot car, walking from the car to the house, coming into the house, and even with the air conditioner on, just being like overwhelming, I end up like needing an Italian ice to cool myself down because I feel so overheated. Fried rice. I think I talked about that in the spring. That was like my shit, that I'm not even like that big of a rice person, and now I am. Been eating the shit out of it, and that's pretty much continued. I've pretty much been like, oh, we have rice, I'm making fried rice. I have also been getting into, the past couple of months, port wine cheese and crackers. We just get like a big box of like wheat thins or whatever, and yeah, we get like the little port wine cheddar tubs, like we're a bunch of grandparents or something, and we get those, and we just eat that as like a snack. My parents visited recently, and my mom made cappuccino brownies, and this is shit that she used to make a lot. Like, I have friends from college that I think the last time anything about my mom and dad came up, they were like, does your mom still make the cappuccino brownie? Because like, she'd make a whole bunch of them for me to bring back to the dorm to share with my friends and dorm mates, and everybody went nuts for this shit, so they're good. I don't know if she's given me the recipe for them, but because it involves instant coffee and the making of the brownies, they're so good, super moist. Things, I've just been like super into hot sauce. I don't know what it is, but the past couple of months it's just been like hot sauce obsessed. Like, things with hot sauce, things to put hot sauce on. I'm just into it. I normally like Frank's Red Hot, but last year when we went on the family reunion, we were introduced to Texas Pete, and that's been my go-to shit lately, is Texas. Fuck Frank's Red Hot at this point. It's all Texas Pete or nothing. And then the last thing, I guess, is touch, or what have I been doing? So, what have I been doing, what I've been into? Outfits, I guess, I don't know. It's all been like shorts, shorts, skirts, dresses, t-shirts. I'm in a tank top right now. It has been so boiling hot. Oh, I ended up having to get new shoes. I got new shoes. I got new Converse because my Chucks ended up ripping, and they're making the most obnoxious noise when I walk now. Like, the absolute most obnoxious noise when I walk, and they're cracked and like ripping at the seams and everything like that. So I think I'm graduating those to work shoes. And I ended up getting this new pair, and they're purple, which I have had purple before, but this is like a brighter purple than my last purple pair I had, and that was from back in like college. I think I had a pair of purple ones too. Let's see, we've done some walks at the state park, though for the most part it's been like way too hot. Just way too hot. Like I said, we did go to the beach once. Basically just wandered around. I was looking for sea glass. We went on a hike and a new trail that we found, which was gorgeous, and we've told our family and friends about it because we want them to like, hey, we should go on this walk, or you guys should go on this walk. It's like really cool. Let's see, I also went to a concert with two of my best friends. One of my best friends got me and our other best friend concert tickets for like, was it her birthday or Christmas? Christmas, that's what it was. It was a Christmas present. To go see Nelly and Janet Jackson. And so we went to that concert. That was a mess getting there, because it was at TD Garden, where you know, the basketball and the hockey is. So it's right in Boston, so we ended up having to take the T. We hit some traffic getting to the T, and then the T itself, like we had to jump on a couple of different lines, and one of the lines kept literally shutting down. Like, actually, like, we would be going through a tunnel and all of a sudden, oh, the engine's gone off, and we've slowed down, and we're all looking at each other like, what the fuck? And then power would come back on again, and luckily the lights stayed on. They flickered, but it was really scary, and I think adding to the fear of the moment when I was already having anxiety because I don't like cities, adding to the fear of, what the fuck, why does the goddamn train keep shutting off? We also had my friend saying, doesn't this remind you of Train to Busan? Which is another horror movie I've never seen because it's a zombie movie, and I don't do zombie movies. So that was fun to have I'm already in like panic mode. I've got like an earbud in my ear trying to like calm myself down by listening to a podcast. My friend's just like going as the train keeps going off and on. Oh, this reminds me of that zombie movie. Dude, no. But we got to the concert, we were a little late, so we only saw like, I want to say like half of Nelly's whole set. Like, yeah, but we did see, it was still pretty good. And then Janet Jackson was also really good. I didn't really know most of her music, but she is a consummate like performer. It was a little bit eerie because a lot of things that, like the sound of her music and a lot of like dance moves and stuff like that she did was very reminiscent of her brother, and that was just a little bit eerie, I guess. I guess I've been a bigger fan of his music than hers, so it was just, the similarities were a little eerie, but it was still really entertaining. Her costume changes, and those were backup dancers, were insane. And the dancing itself was really cool. I was picking up on a lot of moves from like a lot of different places, so that was really cool. Bookish crafts. I started doing some bookish crafts. I did the painting, although Was that in the spring or was it the summer? I can't remember anymore. I did like another bookish painting. I was working on other bookish crafts. I'm almost done with it. I was making a TBR jar because I've been debating trying to use that to force myself to read more of the books that I have been like putting off. And then I also had another like bookish art project of painting things that, yeah, I've been filming like a little video about these things, so that will be coming out whenever I eventually finish doing them. It got so hot in the room that I was working on things in that I just haven't been in there to finish working on them. We've also been working on the basement. We've been mostly focused on the bigger part of the area, so like the man cavey area of my husband's, I guess, as well as the half bath that's going down in there, a couple of closets and a storage area, and then like a main section. We've been working on all of that more than like the library. The library is pretty much done, although I will have updates on that. My parents, like I said, came down and visited, and my dad made like the shelf to go along one wall. So I'll put in like a picture, some things so you can see what I'm talking about of that. It looks really beautiful. My husband stained it for me, and I love the look of it. And then there's just that final wall basically to paint, and I don't think I have enough purple to do the whole wall, so my plan is the whole section of it that juts out will be purple, and the upper part of it is going to be something a little bit different. And I'm really excited about that, and you guys will see in my eventual, like, I've been filming like bits and pieces of this project, not as much as I probably should have, but I'm excited about that I'll show you guys eventually. But yeah, so we've been working on that basically, doing a lot of mudding and sanding, and they've been putting up drywall and stuff. It's been a lot. My best friends have just moved into a house, and I have been helping them this summer on the weekend, like going and helping them get this house ready. Basically, the downstairs is like pretty good. They've got some stuff upstairs to work on as well, which I'm also gonna try to help them with. But yeah, they've moved in. They just moved in, and it's looking pretty good, and I'm really excited for them, especially because my friend is also going to get her own library too, so we're both like really jazzed about that. I've also been writing a little bit, not as much as I would like, but I have been doing that. I've been working on poetry chapbooks for a writing contest. I was working on one that I've been working on for a while, but then my brain said, no, you actually want to work on something else entirely different. So that's why I've been focusing on it. I've just been focusing on this particular chapbook, and trying to get to a place where it's like, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna submit it. And I have to finish writing the poetry for it, and then I have to go through the editing process. And then all this spooky stuff, I've basically been trying to get back into the mood for horror stories, because I do still have a horror short story collection that I was working on and have been working on since 2020, so I'm wanting to get some serious work done on that, because I want to be able to finish all of the stories for this collection, because I don't want to go back through and edit them all until everything's done, because I plan on adding little things that connect them all together, so I don't really want to start the editing until I've completed all of the stories, and then I can go through and weave them all together very carefully. So I've been trying to get back in the mood with that. I've gotten a couple of really good ideas for things. I've started writing 2 of them, and then the others I've just kind of like, they're still percolating in my brain. I've at least gotten the outline of the idea down, and then I just need to work on more of the actual writing of it. Otherwise, let's see, I've been reading. I have been reading, but it feels like I haven't been reading that much, and I think the problem is I have actually been reading. But the thing is that I have been bouncing between so many books that I just haven't been reading, actually like completing books, because I've been bouncing between so many different things. I have finished some. You should be seeing my wrap up of July, but I still have like my summer reads that I was doing. So as far as like reads go, my Clive Cussler, a Clive Cussler-a-thon, basically where I'm like rereading or reading for the first time, yeah, chronologically all the Cusslers that I own. I haven't gotten that far. I've skipped 2 books, DNF'd of book 3. I've read 4 and 5, and this is not chronologically by publication, it's chronologically by what I own, yeah. I've read those, and then I'm currently on Sahara, and I've made progress, but it's been slow progress, so still chug-a-lugging along through the Cusslers, and I'm thinking maybe I'm not going to be able to finish reading everything that I hope to read for them this summer. I don't know. As far as the Victoria Holt books that I wanted to plow through this summer, that's a joke too. I thought that I'd be through Cussler by now. I thought June and July would be like the Cussler time mixed with other things that I wanted to read, and then August would be like the Victoria Holt month, and that's just not happening. I wanted to start with The Shivering Sands, which is my favorite, I think, of the books that I have read of hers, and as you can see I did not get that far into this reread, but I'm thinking that this one might be, you see my poor book is falling apart, this one might be one that I end up bringing with me on our vacation, but I don't know. And then I've still been very slowly continuing my reread of the Chronicles of Bridane, and I'm now in my favorite, Taryn Wanderer. And I have a feeling that this is going to be finished August, and I'm pretty sure that I can also get through the High King in August. And then I've started my reread of City of Beasts, so I'm hoping that trilogy I will get through that Isabel Allende trilogy in August as well. So yeah, like I said, I've been doing a lot of reading. It's just I just keep bouncing between things. Unfortunate. Last thing I've really been doing in June, was it? Yeah, it was in June. We ended up, when we were at like Home Depot, we grabbed a couple of tomato plants and we planted them in buckets. Like my grandpa, it was like super crazy tomato grower, and years ago when we first moved here and I said, well, it doesn't have a garden space or anything, he was like, you don't need one, you could just put them in buckets. So we just got those big like sand buckets or paint buckets, or you know, I call them sand buckets because that's what, if you're, I don't know if anyone does it in other states too, but if you're a Vermonter, you put, you know, during the winter you go down and you get your gravel, your sand for your driveway, and you put it in these big ass buckets, and then that's what you put a shovel in, you put it out on your icy ass driveway. Yeah, in my brain they're sand buckets, but I know other people call them other things. I think paint buckets is the other, you know, the big like plastic ones with those like metal handles. That's what I'm talking about. So we'd used those several years ago when we had tomatoes. Have not had tomatoes in a while. And I just pulled out like 3 of them, and we planted them in. We've got 2 different types of cherry tomatoes. One is like sweet 100s, I believe, and the other one is sunburst or sunglow is the other type. And then we also have Romas, because I figured Romas would be good for like, because they're a little bit bigger but not like gigantic, so it'd be good enough for like a a sandwich, or we can, maybe if we get enough, we can make our own like spaghetti sauce at some point. Yeah, we haven't gotten that much of a harvest recently, just a couple here and there, but I'm actually going to go check them after I finish filming this and see what else we have, because I know that some of them were getting ready to turn ripe, so. I've also been watching the Olympics a little bit. I really liked the opening ceremony. I think my top favorite opening ceremony of all time was probably the London in 2012, because it was just fucking awesome. But this opening was also really cool, and Lady Gaga, I love her. And I've been liking the Olympics so far. I really enjoyed fencing. I'm a little behind in things, because I've been dealing with like migraines this week, but I am in the middle of watching gymnastics and swimming, and I'm really looking forward to watching skateboarding and surfing and martial arts. So, like, I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, anyway, that has been my summer vibes, guys. I feel like I talked for far too long again, and sorry. What have you been into? Have you guys been pounding through the Olympics? What have you been watching, doing, listening to, eating? Whatever. How has your summer been? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for always watching. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, please consider doing so. I usually talk more bookish things than this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.